Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Clapped Out Adventures. Today we're going to be running the Corral Hollow off-road trail, but in the snow this time. Now, if you want to learn more about this trail, specifically when it's not snow-covered, you can check out my in-depth tour of this trail in one of my other videos. I'll put the link in the description below. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the footage I shot that day got washed out due to the sun reflecting off the snow and, well, just plain bad camera work. But I've managed to put together enough clips and pics to give you folks a good summary of the trip. So I was rolling with the Mud, Sweat and Gears 4x4 Club out of Sonora, California, and upon our arrival at the Tamarack side of the trail, we were greeted with a fresh blanket of snow, about 3 inches deep.
I just put it in sport low and I've been idling this whole way.
Chris, how you doing, buddy?
I know I'm stuck right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, 3 inches doesn't really sound like that much, but coupled with some dirty rotten snow from some prior storms, it made for some slick and icy conditions in some areas of the trail.
I got him coming. Maybe. Hold on.
There were a few areas where the older snow had formed drifts across the trail, but were buried and concealed by fresh snow. Therefore, you'd be driving along thinking you're only on a few inches of snow, and then, like unsuspecting quicksand, find yourself sinking to the axles in a drift. That's pretty much what happened here.
Oh no. Alright, now just go.
Even the areas that only had a little bit of fresh snow were making the otherwise easy obstacles a little more technical and challenging.
Hang on, what do you have over here?
Or should I say fun.
Oh, they did.
Okay, it's my bad, 'cause I didn't know which direction.
Yeah, and I didn't see this rock right here.
Oh shit, okay, Tim.
Overall though, most of us were having a fairly easy time getting through this trail. Now there's one spot on the trail that's notoriously steep and filled with loose rocks, and I thought for sure it would give us some trouble, and it did for some, but it made me realize how well a dedicated snow tire performs on compact snow and ice compared to a mud terrain. I mean, look at him for example. He's running just some standard studded snow tires for the street, and he's cruising up this hill like it's nothing. And then there's this guy, a very well-built Jeep, very capable Jeep, but it's running big chunky mud terrains, and as you can see, it's just not providing the bite that the other Jeep's tires had. I ended up losing count of how many times he attacked this hill, and after a while I eventually just turned off the camera. But he did eventually make it to the top, and I gotta say, this guy's got some determination. Once at the top next to the ski resort boundary, a few rigs in the group turned back down the hill while the rest of us went on to complete the full loop of the trail. The snow was definitely a lot deeper up here. We stopped at the cliffs to pose for pictures and take in the magnificent scenery before us. The temp was only about 30 degrees, but the moderate winds rushing over the ridge was making for quite the nippy experience. We stayed for about 10 minutes to take all of our photos and, well, take advantage of some of the rare cell reception on this trail, and then continued on. Once we got to Bear Trap Cabin, we stopped and chit-chatted for a while about our adventures thus far that day. While their adventures were coming to a close, my adventure was just getting started, as I was going to stay overnight in the cabin. The next storm was on our heels as we said our farewells, the three rigs driving off, leaving me behind to depend only upon myself to survive the night and make it back to civilization the next morning. Good morning. It's currently about 8 o'clock a.m. and I gotta say that even though it got down to about 20 degrees last night outside, I was very, very comfortable in here. All thanks to this guy right here. Granted, I had to get up every couple hours to feed this thing, but I don't think it got below 60 degrees. In fact, right now it's, oh, can you see that? 75.4. So right now, yeah, you can kind of see out there the conditions aren't exactly the best, considering the you know, despite the wonderful weather we were having yesterday, clear blue skies and stuff like that. It is, well, it's kind of dumping out here. Currently 29 degrees, so it warmed up throughout the night once these clouds started coming in, and we're supposed to get, I think they said about 3 to 8 inches according to the NOAA weather radio. So I'm probably gonna head out here pretty soon, eat some breakfast before the snow starts getting deep, because you got to remember I'm out here all by myself, about 10 or 12 miles away from civilization, so I definitely don't want to get stranded out here. Of course, then again, people know where I am, so if I do get stranded and don't come back by tonight, I mean, they know where to look for me, so. Overall, my stay at the cabin was pretty warm and comfy, except for, well, this. Pooping in an outhouse in the snow. This is so not cool. But at least I do have a roof. Better than, you know, digging a hole out there somewhere. After that rather frigid experience, I got a belly full of eggs, bacon, and coffee, packed up, cleaned out the cabin, and headed out to tackle the last 7.5 miles back to the highway. The snow had been dumping for several hours by now, and 4 or 5 inches of snow had accumulated upon my departure from the cabin, leaving almost no trace of the previous day's tracks left by the rest of the group. However, because of how cold and dry it was, the old clapped-out Cherokee had no issue trudging through it. There was one particular area where the drifts were forming in the middle of the road, and, well, I mean, come on, who can resist plowing through them? It makes me wish they were a little bit deeper, actually. Yep, things were going all right for me as I was eating up those snow-covered miles in no time. Well, until I ran into this other club here about 1.5 miles from the highway. You guys heading to the cabin?
We were headed up that way.
Okay.
I don't know if we're going to make it or not.
I mean, it's not that bad right now.
Okay, we got 2 guys at the bottom of this little grade that one guy got stuck, and from what I'm understanding, he slid back down into the guy behind him.
Oh, okay.
So I was going to go turn around and go down and see what's going on.
All right, well, I can lend a hand if I can't get by, so.
Yeah. Anyone else behind you?
No. All right, have a good one. So once I got down to the bottom of the hill, I found out that it wasn't just 2 rigs from that club that were stuck, but a couple of hunters had gotten their Tahoe stuck right behind them as well. Funny enough, I actually knew one of the guys that was stuck, so I was able to get a good laugh out of that. Considering the trouble they were having this early on in the trail, and the snow showing no signs of letting up, both the club and the hunter decided that it would be best just to turn around. I stopped and lent them my traction boards, which proved to be an invaluable tool in these conditions. We got everyone turned around and we made it safely back to the highway. Well, that's another adventure in the books. If you like what you saw, consider giving this video a like, or maybe even subscribe to the channel to virtually ride shotgun on the next adventure. Until then, have a good one, and I'll see you out on the trail.